The rains came, finally, after about 7 months. Farming has resumed. I am glad I'm going to be busy for a while. We have 12 mini gardens. Many call them kitchen gardens. And we also have one larger shamba, not very big. In these mini gardens, we grew vegetables. Due to the prolonged dry season, we were forced to have only 4. Because of lack of rain, we could not take care of them properly, and we had very little water, which we got from the last rains after the washing in the kitchen and bathroom. In these gardens, we grew tomatoes, basil and amaranth. They are the ones that seem to grow well here all year round. Cherry tomatoes are the best. Coriander is good too, but has a short life cycle like the sunflower. After the rains came, I moved to the larger shamba. Digging is not very easy, but I must do it. I am engaging in as much physical activity as possible to cut weight and keep fit. Unlike Ken, who works out, I find exercise boring. I love to farm. That is why I prefer to do it as exercise, and I also know that it is therapeutic because I feel refreshed after coming out of the shamba. As we've heard many times, if you want something done well, do it yourself. So this season I am planning to plant beans and cowpeas, hoping that amaranth will grow voluntarily. I also plan to plant cherry tomatoes because I realize, just like amaranth, they are a surprise every rainy season, hoping that they will grow continuously. Most people are advising me to plant a lot of maize, but I love eating rice more and cooking the green leaves. So these things I'm planting at this time, I'm planning to not to harvest the seeds, but to cook the leaves and maybe eat them with rice, potatoes or githeri. I love eating ugali with sour milk or scrambled eggs. I have planted a few maize for githeri and also for beauty. I think maize makes the shambas beautiful. And as I said in a previous video, if we try to do everything that everybody tells us, we will die of confusion and stress and frustration. The outdoor activities are very important to us. Ken draws a lot, and most of the time I'm editing a video. We sit for many hours, and these outdoor activities give us a break from the screen. Do I not find working in the farm dusty and dirty? Someone asked. Many people around here do not touch mud. I love doing this, I told him, and I stopped worrying over little things like my hands becoming rough or having stains or my clothes becoming dirty and discolored. I remember when we stayed in the city, I worried about little things like, was my hair rough? Were my white clothes faded? Were there prints on the floor in the house? But now I'm away from the crowd. There are many things I do not worry about. You should see the weeds in our compound. I will show you one day. Apparently, these weeds are edible. Amaranth, blackjack, and there is one more weed whose name I do not know yet. Many people find these weeds untidy, but for me, they are food. We still feed the lovely birds. I tried to give them millet ugali, but they still go for the maize meal, maybe because of the bright color. Alexander the white cat came into the compound through one of the holes in the fence when he was very young. We loved him because of the white color, and he looked very delicate and vulnerable at that time. But as he continued to grow, he started stealing food from the kitchen and hunting birds. Even after eating fish in the house and drinking milk, he would still go outside there, sit near the bird structure, and jump to get birds. So it's like every day he kept messing around with the bird structure, and I would take a lot of time trying to repair it, and sometimes the bird food spilled, and it would force me maybe to add more food, which is not okay with us because rice and maize are valuable foods. He became aware that we didn't want him around anymore. He would wake up in the morning before we wake up and sneak into the compound and try to eat the birds. There is this noise that the sparrows make every time there is a cat around. So every morning I hear the birds making the noise and I get out. But Alexander will hear us opening the door and rush out of the compound. But we won't be tired because I prefer to have the birds to a mischievous cat. So bye-bye to Alexander. But the birds are more cautious now and look around for several seconds before they start eating. They are more comfortable when they see smoke coming from the fireplace. They know that someone is around to protect them. I have this stick that is about 5 feet, which I use to send the cats away, and I'm sure the birds have noticed. We have new species of birds now, some whose names we do not know, but we are going to research and get their names soon. Carmelita spends most of her time here. I don't have to delay the meal time to keep her around. She sleeps here during the day, goes out during the night, sometimes comes in during the night. She is very polite. She doesn't steal food from the kitchen. She waits for us to cook and put it on the plate you saw her feeding from in my previous video. And though we don't understand what she says, I know we have connected. The owner of the cats does not mind because he has 3 more. And Carmelita still goes there. It's not like we have taken her away completely. And the other 3 cats usually come here. I'm sure you're going to see them soon in my future videos. Oh, and Carmelita does not eat the birds. She doesn't hunt, but she likes to watch them fly around and feed. So today we are taking you near Athi Spring. Ken had already told me it was a lovely place, so I felt it would be exciting to walk from Gong to Athi Spring. It was the longest walk I ever had, more than 2 hours. It was lovely, but I was half dead tired when we reached there. It was even harder for me because there was no place to sit. But when we started fishing, I forgot how tired I was. On our way back, I almost boarded a tuk-tuk because my back was aching and I could walk when I'm bending, but every time I sat down, I would feel better and continue to walk again. But I reached home on foot. In spite of all that, the adventure was enjoyable. The young boys made the day amazing. I loved fishing with them around because they did it with passion. Every time we go fishing with young boys, they are always willing to give information, to teach and learn. They are also not shy, compared to girls. One day I will take girls out for fishing and see how it turns out. They rarely go for adventure because most of the time they stay at home to help their parents with the chores. On this day, near Athi Spring, I did not hold any live fish, but one day I'll gather courage to hold them, slaughter, and clean. I have learned how to scale and cut though, and cook. I learned how to cook fish long before I learned how to catch them. Don't forget to take life easy. There are 4 important things in life: good health, great wealth, a happy marriage, and a perfect family. We cannot have all this at the same time, but each of us has something someone else does not have. Each of us is unique, so there is no need to compare yourself with someone else or compete with someone else. Just do everything good for yourself and improve your life every day to the best it can be. Be yourself and love yourself.
I tried to make a GoPro rig so as to see the fish underwater, but the setup was not appropriate for this environment. The environment I had in mind was a stream, or is it a spring, where the water was a bit stagnant and the bottom was rocky and uneven. So I was thinking if I could put this rig into the stagnant water, the GoPro would stay upright. If you look at the center of the rig that I made with the wire, you'll see that the GoPro is free to swing, and that was one of the things that I was hoping to do. But the first place that I used this rig was River Mbagathi.
That place is beautiful. Here, Bapo.
River Mbagathi flows and it has a very strong current, and that current, because the GoPro was swinging freely, the current was pushing it, making the camera face downwards and sometimes upwards, but that's not what I wanted. So what I did was I added a string connecting the GoPro itself to the frame of the setup.
Unaona vile nimevuta hii hapa? Hii ndogo yenye nimevuta sasa. Vile nimevuta.
Na hiyo kamba ilikuwa inafunguka ukivuta
So there was a huge black one following it. Unaona vile kuna tumbo?
These kids in the video are the kids that told me actually that it is possible to use maize as bait, and because the maize is white and the water is a bit clear, so the fish can see the maize in your hook, inspect it and bite it.
Sababu. Sawa.
Hiyo ikai baba.
Is it? Okay. Oh, hebu muonyeshe, hebu.
Oh, it's a baba.
The barbs here are a hybrid, according to what I was told online by a group of scientists who are doing research with the Kenya National Museum. The barbs are a hybrid of red spot barb or Kesten barb and a Neumaeus barb. I don't know the common name for Neumaeus barb or Barbas neumaeri. All these barbs have one traditional name in the Luo language, Adel, A-D-E-L. And this particular barb in River Mbagathi, as I said, is a hybrid, but it's not the only barb that is here. There's also the straight fin barb or Barbas paludinosus, and they have distinct differences that one can observe if one puts them side by side. The barbs are also very active. When it rains, they bite non-stop. Sometimes the whole day, even when there's no sunshine. Sometimes you'll see barbs with bulging stomachs or ones that look fat around the midsection. These barbs are normally observed during the rainy season. The reason being a lot of these barbs and a lot of cyprinids behave like that, breed or spawn during the rainy season. They go upriver, they find a secure area, and they do a lot of spawning. So their stomachs bulge and they're fat because it is full of eggs.
Tilapia zinakuanga?
Huku juu iko damu zimewekewa. So ukinyesha mvua kubwa, hiyo
Zina-
damu inajaa.
Oh, inamwagika.
Sivyo utapigwa na unajua treva wanaruka kama muda wote.
Do you feel them? Do you feel them pulling?
There's little activity. So
Why is there little activity?
I think iko dark. This river has a lot of barbs, but there's also tilapia, like most rivers in Kenya. There's a lot of tilapia in the environment. All of them are from fish ponds mostly. The indigenous tilapia that live in the rivers are very few and hard to get. It's a bit difficult to fish and get tilapia in the rivers of Nairobi as compared to barbs, but it depends on the method you use. If you're using nets are effective. They cover a large area, so you can get a lot of tilapia. You can catch a lot of barbs for a long time, for weeks and months, but you'll never catch a single tilapia. If you are lucky enough to observe your fishing spot underwater, you will notice that the spot where you are getting hundreds of barbs, there's tilapia just swimming around, ignoring your line and hook.
So worms are the thing.
Where are the pliers? Worms are the best bait, of course. They catch most species. They even catch crayfish, crabs. If you have water snakes, they will also be caught. And if you are fishing somewhere for the first time, worms are the best bait. Sometimes these fish have this behavior that you can recognize because it's a pattern. For example, sometimes we get bites when we cast our lines and hooks. We get bites when the sun comes out and the temperatures go up a bit. And sometimes this happens early to late afternoon, and then it diminishes in the evening as the sun goes down. In River Mbagathi, the same happened. When the sun came out, we started getting more bites, and the bites were crazy. It was like a feeding frenzy. All fish are smart. Even if it doesn't make sense how they keep getting your bait, how they keep getting caught, they are still smart. They are really smart. And the methods we use to catch fish actually exploit how smart they are. It doesn't exploit the stupidity of the fish. I don't know if that makes sense. If there's a clear river near where you are, when you pass near the river, just know that the fish can see you. Sometimes they observe us as we walk past the river, or as we sit by the river, or when we wash things in the river, or whatever we do in the river, even fishing. The fish always observe us, and sometimes they move closer to clearly see who we are, what we are, or what we are doing, how we look like. So don't imagine that because you can look at a river and not see fish, that the fish doesn't see you. Their field of view is such that even if you crouch, the refraction can make you visible.
Ken, hapana tutumie mahindi wewe watu.
Ukitaka zionje poa, unaziua kwanza, alafu unacha damu itoke. Ukiacha zikufe zenyewe zitakuwa na harufu mbaya.
The kids always know a lot about fishing. They know that this small fish in the river have a lot of bones. Therefore, they need to be fried longer. They also know how to wash sand and use in an aquarium or whatever they're using to keep the fish. And sometimes they can educate you, and sometimes you can educate them. As usual, whenever you are in a fishing spot and you find another human fishing, you learn from each other.
Asante.
Karibu.
ndio inarudi, lakini ukifanyia hivi tena na saa hizi toka. So lakini hapa sikuwa naweza kutumia hii kwa sababu haiko mbali. Hii ni ile unarusha huko mbali katika jamaa.
Unaendelea kushika.
Sip H, that super bass got boom, boom. Got me dead live, I'm Kurt Cobain, boom, boom. Sip H, that super bass got boom, boom. Got me dead live, I'm Kurt Cobain, boom, boom. Sip H, that Sip H, that super bass got boom, boom. Got me dead live, I'm Kurt Cobain, boom, boom. Sip H, that super bass got boom, boom. Got me dead live, I'm Kurt Cobain, boom, boom. Sip H, that trying to not think about you whilst you're in my mind.